Jordan Peterson became a literary success. No, more than that, he became a cultural phenomenon by telling people, particularly young men, to take themselves more seriously and to make their bed in the morning. Also, he called out the gobbledygook of the so-called postmodernists. Now look, I'd sometimes agree. I never really understood Derrida, if I'm honest. Although Peterson does use that term postmodernist for basically anyone he doesn't like. Here he is in 2017 talking to Joe Rogan about those blasted postmodernists.
See, just to talk to, like, let's say if you're a postmodernist, just to have a discussion with someone like you, you know, a heterosexual, what do they call this, cisgendered male of power, you know, and white to boot, it's like, that's an evil act in and of itself, because all you're doing by engaging in dialogue with that person is validating their power game. That's all. You see, and this is no aberration that these people don't engage in dialogue. It's no aberration. It's built right into the philosophical system. They regard the idea that if you're in one power group and I'm in another, the idea that we can step out of that group, engage in a dialogue, have our worlds meet, and produce some sort of
understanding of each other.
Yeah, some sort of negotiated understanding. No, that's part of your oppressive patriarchal game. That idea, that whole idea, is part of your game. So if I even engage in the dialogue, I'm playing your game. You win. It's a complete assault. It's complete. People don't understand that postmodernism is a complete assault on two things. One, it's an assault on the metaphysical substrate of our culture. And I would say that the metaphysical substrate looks something like a religious substrate. So it's a direct assault on that. And the second thing it's an assault on is everything that's been established since the Enlightenment. Rationality, empiricism, science, everything. Clarity of mind, dialogue.
Jordan Peterson there criticizing postmodernists. Those are people who turn everything into pointless word games, who make even the possibility of a conversation with shared facts and premises absurd. For them, language isn't a tool in the pursuit of truth, but a way to win prestige and play status games. Now, speaking of which, here's Jordan Peterson in 2025.
You believe in the all-knowing, all-powerful, all-good notion of God?
What do you mean by believe?
Do you think it to be true?
That's the circular definition. What do you mean when you say you believe?
How is that circular?
Because you added no content to the answer by substituting the word true and believe.
I said, you think it to be true.
We're going to go back to this clip in a moment. I know that was very short, but this is really important to highlight. Jordan Peterson is making a postmodernist argument, at least according to Jordan Peterson a decade ago anyway. The idea that the truth and what I believe are circular implies an absence of any objective reality that we can agree on, right? I believe something. Well, what do you believe? I believe something is true. Well, what's the truth? And if it's not just something you believe, well, hold on. Wasn't your whole project about rallying against precisely this? Is Jordan Peterson now a postmodernist? Is he Canada's answer to Jack Derrida? Anyway, let's watch some more.
All right. So if you believe something, you stake your life on it.
What do you mean by that?
You live for it and you die for it.
Okay, so you're saying that you don't believe something if you wouldn't die for it?
Not really, no.
Okay. So then,
how would you define belief? Something you say?
Well, can I explain? Like, I could believe it is the case that this pen exists, but if someone like threatened my life, right, I would lie in order to be able to save my life, right? Like, I think you would do that too. You wouldn't lie to save your life?
Don't be so sure.
You wouldn't lie to save your life?
How much do you know about me? I didn't lie to save my career. I didn't lie to save my clinical practice.
Would you lie to like save your children, your mom, your dad?
I don't think lying would save them.
Can there ever be a circumstance logically that lying could save someone?
Yeah, and if you're steeped in sin, you're likely to live in circumstances like that.
I'll give you an example. If you're like in like Nazi Germany, and it is the case that there's like Jewish people in your attic and you're trying to protect them,
example.
Would you lie to like the Nazis?
I would have done everything I bloody well could, so I wouldn't be in that situation to begin with. It's a hypothetical, and it's not answerable.
You can't answer hypotheticals?
No, I can't answer a hypothetical like that because
it's fun. Did you eat today?
Don't play games.
I'm not playing games. I'm just asking if you ate it today.
I just told you I would do everything that I could to make sure that I'm never in that situation. By the time you've got there, you've made so many mistakes that there's nothing you can do that isn't a sin.
being born in Nazi Germany and trying to protect people that you care about. Like there could be a Jewish friend that you have and you want to protect them.
I think you should
have
just
them in
give
your
up on
attic.
that line of questioning.
But like, okay, again, you're not answering this hypothetical because you know it shows that you clearly would lie to save
I'm
someone's life.
answering it in
Obviously,
a
that's
manner
not what
you
truth
don't
is.
find acceptable.
Obviously, because I care about truth.
I wouldn't be in that scenario.
Such a weird response from Jordan Peterson. Does he think that German citizens who did indeed protect and shield Jewish people were stupid or bad? Oskar Schindler saved over 1,200 Jews by lying, of course. I would never put myself in that situation. Wouldn't you want to be doing something like that, faced with the persecution of a religious minority? No, I would do everything to not be in that situation. Really? You wouldn't want to be in a situation where you can help save 1,200 people's lives? And this is the guy, by the way, who's the voice of moral conscience, apparently. And next up, Peterson was asked about his faith. And remember, this video was initially branded as 1 Christian versus 20 atheists on YouTube. The whole point of the video is that Peterson's defending his views as a Christian. Let's take a look.
Why is that relevant?
Because you go to a Catholic church, don't you? Or you've attended recently. You're interested in Catholicism, aren't you?
Sure.
All right. Are you familiar with their doctrines?
Somewhat.
Okay, you're
Their
familiar.
doctrines are very
how do they
deep.
regard Mary?
Why are you asking me that?
Because you're a Christian.
You say that. I haven't claimed that.
Oh, what is this? Is this Christians versus atheists?
I don't know.
You don't know where you are right now.
Don't be a smartass.
Well,
and I mean
either you're a
'cause I
Christian
won't
or you're
talk
not.
to you if you're a smartass.
Either you're a Christian or you're not. Which one is it?
I could be either of them, but I don't have to tell you.
You don't have to tell me. I was under the impression
private.
I was invited to talk to a Christian. Am I not talking to a Christian?
No, you were invited to.
I think everyone should look at the title of the YouTube channel. You're probably in the wrong YouTube video.
You're really quite something, you are.
Aren't I? But you're really quite nothing. Right? You're not a Christian.
Okay, I'm done with him.
Oh, God, it's so good. Some people in the comments, why are we watching this? Okay, firstly, because it's really funny, right? It's really, really funny. I might be a Christian, I might not. The thing is literally called A Christian versus 20 Atheists. Then the guy says, maybe you're in the wrong video. I mean, maybe he is, right? Or maybe I'm not. Now, perhaps, quite predictably, Jubilee changed the title of the video shortly after it was uploaded, 4 hours to be precise, from the initial 1 Christian versus 20 Atheists, featuring Jordan Peterson, to Jordan Peterson versus 20 Atheists. Maybe it should have just have been called Jordan Peterson versus Jordan Peterson. He seems perfectly able to argue with himself. Who knows? Maybe it would have made more sense. Harriet, what does it say about Anglophone radical right politics, radical right conservatism, that Jordan Peterson is such a big deal?
Well, I'm sorry that I don't have a really clever postmodernist answer for you here, Aaron, but I'm just going to say that I think that Jordan Peterson's a really weird guy. He's such a weird dude. What is going on in these videos? I don't even know what to make of them. It's nonsense. They are nonsense clips. And there's something also deeply American about all these young nerds, frankly, sitting around being like, yay, I scored a debating point over Jordan Peterson. Everybody needs to step back off the internet, myself included, and get a life. But on a more serious note, I do think that people are drawn to figures like Jordan Peterson, because particularly young men, I think, they really want to be told how to live and what to do with their lives. I think there is a real void of meaning in a lot of people's lives, and that is why we are seeing particularly Gen Zs perhaps moving back towards organised religion. They tend to be more interested in adopting faiths like Catholicism, things that are very heavy with history, with ritual. There's a reason why Catholics get all the bells and smells, as the people who go to CFE sort of call them. I've got a family that, my mum was raised Catholic, and then I went to a United Reformed church as a kid, and then that turned into going to an evangelical church later on. So I feel like I've seen a bit across the spectrum of Christianity. And I think that people moving back towards wanting that in their lives is because we do feel that there is something that the material world and neoliberalism and rampant individualism and the crushing realities of capitalism just can't give us. And contemporary life is super atomized. We crave meaning, we crave community, we want to be with each other in a connected community sense, and we just don't really know how to do that a lot of the time. But these sort of narratives, like Jordan Peterson pushes, of like personal responsibility and like you doing that for yourself, which is also quite an Andrew Tate thing, like work on yourself in the gym, learn these ways of subjugating women, and you can have a better life. You can be like a high status man. You know, these things only go so far when you are faced with structural issues that face so many of us who are outside of a sort of elite class of the very wealthy who have everything essentially set up in their favor.
Yeah, it's a shame in a way, because his early stuff, I didn't agree with the guy. We made videos about him years ago, criticizing him and disagreeing with him. But there was a core part to his message, which was speaking to young men, saying, take yourself seriously at least, right? You only live once. Take yourself seriously. Try and find meaning in life. And like you say, that is a very countercultural message in our world. But he's just gone off the deep end. I mean, he's literally, I mean, he sounds insane. A personal question, Harriet. Have any men in your, because he was a cultural phenomenon, right? Have any men in your like private life over the last 5-10 years, could be a cousin, could be a friend of your partner, whatever, have they sort of mentioned Jordan Peterson unprompted? Because he was a big deal like 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, it was a really big deal in 2018. I don't remember anyone like bringing him up, but I know that he's taken on things that genuinely can be useful, like Joseph Campbell's the hero's journey, which allows us to find a sort of meaningful route through the suffering in our lives. And yeah, that's something that I found incredibly helpful, but I'm not sure how Peterson has presented that or what he's sort of done with it. As I say, I'm not really sort of the target audience for Jordan Peterson. And I'm almost weirdly glad that no men in my life have really mentioned him. But, you know, I do have a cousin who's very into crypto, if that helps.
Probably a big JP stan a few years ago.